This special session of Independent School District 535 School Board is called to order at 4:53 p.m. on Tuesday, October 27th, 2020, in room 137 of the Edison Building. Present is Mr. Michael Munoz, Superintendent of Schools, and a non-voting ex officio member of the board. Also present is Ms. Wendy Edgar, the Assistant Board Clerk. Ms. Edgar, would you please call the roll?
Miss here. Mr. Barlow.
Here.
Miss Marvin.
Here.
Miss Nathan.
Here.
Mr. Susner.
Here.
Chair Seelinger.
Here.
Miss Workman.
Here. 2.01, approval of the agenda. This is an action item. Superintendent.
There are no changes to the agenda.
Move approval, Marvin.
Second, Schlusner.
It's been moved and seconded. Ms. Edgar, will you please call the roll?
Miss Amundson.
Aye.
Miss Marvin.
Aye.
Miss Nathan.
Aye.
Mr. Susner.
Aye.
Chair Seelinger.
Aye.
Miss Workman.
Aye.
Item 7.01, approval of an individual site agreement with City of Rochester. This is a briefing item. Superintendent Munoz.
Yes, Mr. Carlson, Executive Director of Business and Finance, will brief us on this agenda item.
Good evening, School Board and Superintendent Munoz. I'm here tonight to bring you an agreement that we need to get approved with the City of Rochester. It's called the Individual Site Agreement, and it relates directly to the new middle school. Our building permit is technically contingent upon this, so we would like to get this approved. And sorry about missing the last meeting. We were still negotiating a couple things right past the deadline of getting it on the agenda, but that was to our advantage. There were a couple concessions we got that I wanted to tell you about. So first off, we got the city to agree to eliminate a turn lane in front of 65th Street in front of the school there. And we do not need to pay for that now, as well as we do not have to become responsible for a future stoplight at 65th Street and 55th Avenue. So both of those now are not our responsibility. And then the third thing that we got in this agreement was that only if the city determines that a project needs to happen to construct 55th Avenue Northwest to the north through our property would we have to pay part of the cost of that. So in other words, if the landowner behind or to the north of the new middle school ever decides to develop that into housing or any other type of property, the developer is going to be responsible for paying for the cost of developing 55th Avenue. So that's the more likely route that's going to happen is someday somebody will want that land for housing or something, and then they will become responsible for building the street through the school district property. So all three of those help lower our potential bills for the future. So we're happy about that. But the rest of the agreement basically spells out then that we do have to pay for part of the reconstruction of 65th Street, just like any of the other property owners have had to pay for that. And we also have to pay our share of the sewer and water access charges that the city assesses when a new property is developed. So those are basically the highlights. The city council is also going to act on this. So we're saying that we'd like you to approve this agreement contingent upon the city council approving the exact same agreement. I would also just point out too that instead of a stoplight at 55th Avenue, the reason that has gone away is it's been determined that a roundabout is the more likely traffic control that will go at that intersection, and it sounds like the city and or the state is going to take full responsibility for that. So we may have to dedicate a little bit more land to make that happen, but now we won't have any cost in putting that in place.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Board members? Dr. Marvin, I saw you had your hand up. Did your question get answered?
Well, actually, most of it did. My concern was that it sounds like both a turn lane and a stop sign would be, or stoplight would be important. And it sounds as if both of those are going to get taken care of one way or the other, but it's the district won't have to pay for them.
That's correct.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Other questions, board members? Sounds like it's another exciting step forward for our middle school property. I actually was happened to drive by that site the other day and was thinking good thoughts and smooth sailing and dry ground for a celebration sometime in the future.
Move to action.
Second, Schlusner.
It's been moved and seconded to move this to action. Any discussion? Director Workman. Any discussion on
No,
moving
it
this
was,
action?
no, it was a mistake.
Okay.
My
thank you.
hand up was a mistake.
Okay. Ms. Edgar, will you call the roll?
Miss Amundson,
Aye.
Mr. Barlow,
Aye.
Miss Marvin,
Aye.
Miss Nathan,
Aye.
Mr. Slusner,
Aye.
Chair Seelinger,
Aye.
Miss Workman.
Aye.
Okay, it is now an action item. I will read the resolution. Be it resolved that the School Board of Independent School District 535 does hereby approve the individual site development 65th Street Northwest Middle School project number CD 2020-016SDP with the City of Rochester contingent upon City Council approval of the same agreement.
Move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Director Workman, your hand is up again. Did you have
Yes,
something?
this time for sure. This time
Okay.
for sure. I have not driven by the property yet. Is there a hole in the ground at all, or do we have to wait on the city council meeting for that before the diggers and the bulldozers and all that cool construction equipment gets out there?
My understanding is that some dirt has been moved at this point, but we are waiting
Okay.
for the official building permit.
Okay, and when do you expect the
That
city
should come,
council to approve that?
yeah, that should come pretty quick. I think actually they were going to, the city staff felt comfortable approving the building permit and because they assume the city council is also going to sign off on this if you approve tonight.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Edgar, any others? Ms. Edgar, go ahead with the vote.
Miss Amundson,
Aye.
Mr. Barlow,
Aye.
Miss Marvin,
Aye.
Miss Nathan,
Aye.
Mr. Slusner,
Aye.
Chair Seelinger,
Aye.
Miss Workman.
Aye.
Thank you.
7.02, approval of revisions to the policies and procedures manual. This is an action item. Whereas the school board maintains a policies and procedures manual regarding the operation of the school district, and whereas the policies and procedures manual is constantly updated and revised, and whereas the following policies have been revised: Policy 515, protection and privacy of pupil records; Policy 602, organization of school calendar and school day. Be it resolved that the School Board of Independent School District 535 approve the revised policies.
Move approval, Workman?
Second, Amundson.
Any discussion on this? Director Nathan.
I have a question for the superintendent. The policy provides for parents to be able to opt out of directory information. And I know that the deadline usually is October 1st. So with adding this additional piece of option, will that deadline be extended?
That's something that they do at the beginning of the year when they register. If the board would like us to, we can send out communication to let parents know that this policy has changed. And I suppose we could open up a window to allow them to do that if that's what the board would like us to do.
I would be in favor of that since we're since we're changing a component of the directory information and adding a new one.
I would agree with Director Nathan on that.
I think it's a good idea too.
And
My
this-
comment, Director Seelinger, is are we anticipating a problem, a concern, or are we just trying to be visionary and anticipating that it would be nice to do this? I guess I don't know. I don't see the need, but I'm definitely open to hear the why.
Yeah, my understanding, Director Barlow, I shouldn't speak for the policy committee, but I've already started talking, is because we're adding the digital component as our students are in virtual learning, that there may be parents who wish to opt out different than they have in previous years. So I think it's a reasonable, transparent, just an information for parents, and administration can figure out how that would be my recommendation. Administration figures out how to best do that. Director Workman?
Yes, I would say that it's a question of transparency, that we are making this change, that we are letting our parents, they know they have the opportunity to opt out of this. And so it doesn't come as a surprise. I think all of our business should be really well communicated, especially to parents and decisions they make for their children.
Thank you. Director Marvin?
I'm thinking then that we should vote on these policies first. That's the question on the table at this point. And then sounds like there is a certain amount of concurrence then that we would like the district to notify, send out an email to parents saying that there's a window open if you want to change your mind about what directory information is available. But I think right now we need to vote and then maybe return to this discussion.
I don't think we need to return to the discussion. I believe that if we vote to enact a policy, then it's up to administration to do the administration pieces of the policy. So that's what I would assume would happen. Superintendent?
Yes, I mean, we would be happy to do that, but I guess the question I have is that the precedence that anytime we make a policy change that impacts our families, that we need to communicate with them that the policy's changed. This is a little bit different than agreeing to let your child's picture be taken. So now we're just allowing the video. So, and really the main purpose, as we stated at the last meeting, is so when teachers are recording their lessons, they do not have to have students have their cameras turned off. So that's the main purpose of the change. But, you know, we don't inform parents whenever we make policies, and a lot of our policies do impact our families and students. But we would be happy to send out some communication on this one.
Yep, thank you. Director Nathan, sorry, trying to get everybody in order.
So since I suggested it in the first place, I'll clarify that I think this does not set a precedent for additional policies, but because this is an explicit opportunity where the window has closed and we change the policy after the window has closed. And I have heard some concerns from parents that, like a photograph, a video or a digital photograph to them is equivalent to a still photograph. And they'd like to have the option to opt out for privacy reasons.
Thank you. Director Workman?
You called on Kathy first, so I don't need to say anything.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay, anything else? Yeah, Superintendent.
Yeah, I would agree with Kathy. I think it's the families that have already opted out to have their child's picture taken. But like I said, maybe there are others out there that are okay with pictures, but not videos. So we'll put something out.
Yep, thanks. I think this is, to me, it's sort of a kind of like our mask policy. This is a little bit new territory, so I think it just makes sense. All right, are everybody ready to go forward and have Ms. Edgar call the vote? Looks like it. Ms. Edgar?
Miss Amundson,
Aye.
Mr. Barlow,
Aye.
Miss Marvin,
Aye.
Miss Nathan,
Aye.
Mr. Slusner,
Aye.
Chair Seelinger,
Aye.
Miss Workman.
Aye.
And with that, board members, we will adjourn this meeting at 5:07.